Doris Miller was an African-American sailor who served as a cook, third class, on the USS West Virginia during the attack on Pearl Harbor. Doris Miller became the first African-American to receive the Navy Cross, the second highest medal in the Navy, right behind the Medal of Honor. Doris Miller was born on October 12, 1919, in Waco, Texas, to Henrietta and Connery Miller. Doris did have 3 brothers, but it's unclear how old they were in relation to Doris. While attending Moore High School in Waco, Doris was a fullback on the football team. Before joining the Navy, he worked on his father's farm. Doris enlisted in the U.S. Navy on September 16, 1939 in Dallas, Texas, so he could travel and earn some money for his family. The first ship Miller served on was the USS Pyro, an ammunition ship, before being transferred to the USS West Virginia on January 2, 1940, where he became the ship's heavyweight boxing champion. In July of that year, he had temporary duty aboard the USS Nevada at Secondary Battery Gunnery School. He would return to the West Virginia on August 3rd of that year and would be on it when the Japanese attacked Pearl Harbor. On December 7, 1941, Miller had arisen at 6 a.m. and was collecting laundry when the alarm for general quarters sounded. He headed for his battle station, the anti-aircraft battery magazine amidship, only to discover that torpedo damage had wrecked it, so he went on deck. Because of his physical prowess, he was assigned to carry wounded fellow sailors to places of greater safety. He was later tasked in trying to save the life of the ship's captain, Mervyn S. Beninen, but was unsuccessful as Beninen died shortly thereafter. Before trying in vain to save Beninen, Miller was assigned to help feed ammunition to the 2 Browning 50 cal machine guns aft of the conning tower. Miller was not familiar with the weapon, but 2 fellow sailors instructed him on how to operate it. When one of them looked back to check on Miller, he was firing one of the guns despite his lack of experience. Miller later described firing the machine gun during the battle. "It wasn't hard. I just pulled the trigger and she worked fine. I watched the others with the guns. I guess I fired her for about 15 minutes. I think I got one of those jet planes. They were diving pretty close to us." When the attack finally died down, Miller helped move injured sailors through oil and water to the quarterback, thereby, quote, unquestionably saving the lives of a number of people who might otherwise have been lost. Toward the end of the attack, the order was given to abandon ship. Miller, along with the rest of the surviving crew members, did as ordered. Of the 1,541 men on the West Virginia during the attack, 130 were killed and 52 were wounded. Now, at first, Miller wasn't given the credit he deserved. The Navy gave credit to an unnamed African American. It wasn't until the Associated Press story came out naming Doris Miller as the hero in question. On May 11, 1942, President Franklin D. Roosevelt approved awarding a medal to Doris Miller. On May 22, 1942, Admiral Chester Nimitz awarded the Navy Cross to Miller aboard the USS Enterprise. Nimitz would later say about Miller, "This marks the first time in this conflict that such a high tribute has been made in the Pacific Fleet to a member of his race, and I'm sure that the future will see others similarly honored by brave acts." On December 15th, Miller was transferred to the heavy cruiser USS Indianapolis. Miller was promoted to mess attendant first class on June 1st, 1942. By November 23rd, Miller returned to Pearl Harbor and was ordered on a war-bound tour while still attached to Indianapolis. From December 1942 to January 1943, he traveled to Oakland, California, back to his hometown of Waco, Dallas, and to the first graduating class of black sailors from Great Lakes Naval Training Station to give presentations. Miller was advanced to cook third class on June 1st when he reported to the escort carrier Linscomb Bay. This would be his final assignment. After training in Hawaii, Linscomb Bay took part in the Battle of Macon, beginning November 20th, 1943. On November 24th at 5:10 a.m., while cruising near Batari Tari Atoll, a single torpedo from a Japanese submarine, I-175, struck the escort carrier near the stern. An aircraft bomb magazine detonated a few moments later, sinking the warship within minutes. Of the 900 crew on board, only 272 sailors survived. Sadly, Doris Miller was not among them. On December 7, 1943, 2 years after his heroic actions at Pearl Harbor, Miller's parents were informed that Doris Miller was missing in action. On November 25, 1944, a year and a day after the loss of Linscomb Bay, Miller was officially declared dead by the Navy. Most people were unfamiliar with Doris Miller until 60 years later with the release of the movie Pearl Harbor in 2001, where he was played by Cuba Gooding Jr. As of 2021, Miller has yet to receive the Medal of Honor, as all 3 attempts by Representative Eddie Bernice Johnson in 2016, 2017, and 2020 were never voted upon. A frigate ship was named after Doris, the USS Miller, which served less than 20 years in the Navy. There are 3 schools in America named after Miller: Dory Miller Intermediate School, Ennis, Texas; Doris Miller Elementary School, Antonio, Texas; and Doris Miller Elementary School, San Diego, California. On October 12, 1991, which would have been Doris's 72nd birthday, a bronze plaque dedicated to Miller was unveiled. And finally, on January 19, 2020, the U.S. Navy officially named their newest Gerald Ford-class carrier, CVN-81, after Miller, becoming the first aircraft carrier to be named after an African American and the first aircraft carrier named after an enlisted soldier. It's a sad reality for Doris Miller, who was considered by some as America's first hero of World War II, who gave his life to save a nation that at the time would not respect people of his race. It wouldn't be until July 22, 1948, the Korean War, that African American and white soldiers would serve together. Some believe that Doris Miller played a part in that change, because his actions proved that he could fight bravely despite his skin color. Doris Miller died for a cause that he thought was right and was truly a hero we can all look up to. But looking back on it, he was just a normal man caught in the midst of a war, but his actions are what made him a hero.